What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Infamous. Hey, before you watch my review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you would like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. This film is basically Bonnie and Clyde in the age of social media, which, come to think of it, if the real Bonnie and Clyde were still around today, they too would have blown up on all platforms, including TikTok. And I think that is what this Infamous partly puts a spotlight on, which is the fact that our society has this twisted need to glorify violence and reward the bad guys, as opposed to highlighting the everyday heroes among us. Although Infamous as a movie has its hiccups along the way, I think the dynamic between the two lead characters and what their journey conveys will draw you in. Written and directed by Joshua Caldwell, Infamous is about two young lovers who rob their way across the Southland. Bella Thorne plays Ariel, a down-on-her-luck dreamer who longs for popularity. She encounters an ex-con named Dean, played by Jake Manley, who has an abusive father. Ariel and Dean have an instant connection, and after the accidental death of Dean's father, they are forced on the run. In an attempt to gain social media fame, Ariel live streams their exploits and robberies, gaining them viral notoriety, but ultimately leading them towards a tragic ending. Co-starring Amber Riley. There's the desire to be famous, and then there's the addiction that comes with being famous. That's what Bella Thorne's character Ariel pretty much goes through in this movie, which ultimately asks the question of, how far is too far? A lot of us are old enough to remember Oliver Stone's masterpiece Natural Born Killers, which tackles the mass media sensationalization of murderers. Well, with this one, it's social media, which can take on a life of its own without any gatekeeper pulling the strings. In its structure, Infamous is actually quite predictable. Even the turn of events in the third act is something to be expected, but some of this film's creative choices are hard to ignore, like the climactic scene at the bank and the highway shootout. The camera often doesn't deviate away from Ariel's direct line of vision, so when we see her victims caught in the crossfire, the guilt hits her and us, the audience, for looking at it. And then there's this emphasis on taking in the breeze of the open road. It's a different kind of feeling of freedom for fugitives, because that said freedom has its expiration date and time. I think Bella Thorne and Jake Manley are fantabulous in their respective roles. Bella Thorne in the real world has about 23 million Instagram followers and about 7 million Twitter followers. So the real Bella Thorne has no problem on this social media front. So her portrayal of Ariel, who's desperate for that social media attention, is impressively convincing. Jake's character, on the other hand, is the one that doesn't throw caution to the wind. Dylan genuinely wants to make sure that Ariel doesn't fly too close to the sun, but both of them are in way over their heads. Their fights and arguments are a bit cliched and overdramatic, but they fit the nature of this type of story. An outsider might view their relationship as toxic, but I think they see each other as can't live with them, can't live without them, which unsurprisingly rings true for a lot of couples out there. Overall, Infamous is a passionate crime romantic thriller that serves as potent escapism now more than ever.